Hello everyone and welcome to RPM Esports F1 Season 7 Round 7. We're underway in Monza. You're joined today by the entity. Who else is going to get you through this? We're jumping straight into the action here as we have got the one-shot qualifying for the sprint race, a new format for us after the halfway point to take us now on to round 7 after a nice break week last week. And it looks as the moment that it's Bob Spun and Snell Henk racing for the lead. It's not going to let me scroll up, so we're going to be watching DS Backer as he goes round, but it's a one-shot qualifying, so we won't be able to see too much, so it might be good to be racing on board with one driver so we can fully understand this circuit. Lovely conditions for the one-shot qualifying as we make our way with Backer down into the Ascari chicane. A bit on the grass there, it's going to slow them and definitely hold up the process. The whole idea behind this one-shot qualifying it's all about one mistake can completely throw you off. There's so much pressure on this one lap. There's enough pressure as it is in qualifying. Now making it only one lap, one chance. People definitely going to feel the pressure, feel the pinch of the parabolica as DS Backer just did. Dropped into 15th, but it would have been worse if they went wide there and picked up a track limits violation. But 16th for the Williams man, and that is confirmed our order after that one short qualifying. Only one driver into the 119s, and that is unlucky. Not unlucky at all with that lap time. Danos was able to pick up second in the Ferrari. Bob Spun third. Goey is in fourth. That's our second row of the grids. Third row of the grids, we've got Ivja and Scooter. There's Reuse, Snell Henk, Foal Killer. Inorganic, Mocky, Lisbon, Jeweler, Spivey, Kieran, DS Backer, the Chaos Ride, Sean and Smithy. For anyone watching along with us on stream, I've got it coming through my headset. I never thought that was a thing. Well, hello, Mr. Inorganic. Good to see you. 10th place for qualifying. There's definitely some ground to gain for you there, but it's a good place to find yourself in after that one-shot qualifying. Easily in range of those points from the sprint, which is coming up next.
It's pronounced Druid.
It's pronounced Druid. I'm sorry, I might just have to call you Chaos now as opposed to Chaos Druid. Just because I'm going to probably get that wrong when there's potential carnage going on screen, overtakes left, right and centre. It will be chaos, and hopefully Chaos, you will not be involved in that chaos except from charging right past it and finding yourself on the podium tonight. So, got a couple of lights on the screen as we are going into our formation lap, the first of 2 formation laps. And let's just have a little look and see. With the sprint, I know there's drivers watching with anticipation from both Championship and Premier Divisions. Championship tomorrow night, same time. And on Thursday, again, the same time, we have our Premier Division. But drivers always feel free to swoop by, have a little watch, be that on the replay or on the live stream itself, to have a little nose as to what tyres are being used by who and where and for how long. So interesting there. Reuse, Inorganic, Kieran and Chaos all believe that medium tyres are the best tyres to be on now. Be that the idea of I don't quite know what the idea is. I guess it's just the idea that the softs are not going to last 9 laps, and it could be a big ask. It's very low wings on the cars around Monza, so you can easily go through the tyres. So I'll be interested to see that potential later on, mind you. A safety car, and it all goes out the window. So we've got, let's load up the live standings. Our standings at the moment, we haven't got any RPM Jones racing today, so he may well lose out from his current second position in the championship standings. Bob Spun is currently our leader. Bob Spun starting in third, directly behind the race leader, who's unlucky to find themselves in fourth position, level on points with Snell Henk at the moment. Snell Henk starting in eighth, a very consistent finisher this season, seeing them up the list. But when talking of consistent finishers, that's when you've got to look at RPM Inorganic and RPM Jones, 72 and 75 points, the two of them, second and third in the championship. And I think Unlucky is going to be planning to get ahead. And it looks like we've got a couple of disqualifications going on here as the drivers make their way to the grid. They should ghost, so they should be able to drive through them. But Inorganic and Mocky may be coming together, and Clem's just gone over their box as well for the start. But here we are, they're all in position. We've got a good position here to see the lights, or maybe not. We don't get to see the lights at all. We can tell that they've all gone. And it's a great start from Bob Spun. A good enough start by Unlucky. They seem to have bogged down in the second phase. There's contact at the back. Oh, there's Bedlam at the back. But it's Unlucky who manages to come out unscathed at the front. Then Danos the second. Bob Spun gets through behind. Let's have a little look at those position changes. So our top five, we've got Battles for position, doesn't appear to have changed, and we have got a full safety car coming out after that one. I thought we would have seen a virtual safety car as we most commonly do for the first up incidents, but this one is very heavy from the start. It's unlikely that we see such a heavy incident at the start before we even get to the braking zone. I guess that's saved a bit of the carnage for the what would have been the carnage of the bottling up going into the first corners, as we had the safety car already announced just prior for most of the fields. And I think Unlucky is going to be very happy to have seen that safety car, as yes, second phase of that launch, they seem to drop back a bit, and Danos right up alongside the Alpine driver. I guess some would say that Unlucky might have used some black magic there, but that'd be optimistic to say the least. But it's a sweet melody at the moment for Unlucky, who is able to, will be able to lead us back underway once the safety car comes in. So a little mix up to the order with Snell Henk gaining ground. You can see exactly why they're in fifth on 69 points, level fourth I should say, with Unlucky in the championship. And it's for that exact reason, they know how to make up ground. So Snell Henk currently up into sixth, and oh, Chaos, a couple of drivers have pitted, obviously got caught up in the incidents, Chaos being one. And that sprint's getting worse for them, unfortunately, as they pick up a 5-second time penalty speeding into the pits. They might get another opportunity to pit. It depends if the safety car comes in this lap, which I'm sure they will take just to get rid of that 5-second time penalty. So there's our strategies. It's just say, whichever tyre you're on, make them last. And with this safety car taking a few of the blistering laps away, you can now imagine that those soft tyres are going to last. We're now only down to just two drivers on the mediums, one being inorganic, one being reused. So we had two drivers picking up penalties, one being Kieran, which I believe was at the time of the incident itself, the other being Chaos, as we saw speeding into the pits just a moment ago. As the pack all work close together under the safety car. A real mixture of drivers up the top so far. It's two Ferraris though that either work together or could get in each other's waves when it comes to pit strategies. We saw that all too well in the real F1, Like everyone needed to pit at the same time to go onto those dry weather tyres. So sometimes it can be a good thing running with your teammates. Other times you can get in each other's way. So I wonder if Aisha and Danos, I'm sure the two of them talking to each other nonetheless, will make sure that team orders play a part. But I wonder if that could be a factor come the race. What's the likelihood of either of them boxing in the remaining 6 laps when we get going is going to be rather slim. So we've got a few more arriving faces to watch us along on the stream. Some of you might be racing currently with the safety car on track. Others might be in the gym. But wherever you are, do be sure to check out RPM Esports, be that on, other videos on our YouTube. Any content that you might find on our social medias, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And watch some of those videos on TikTok if you're looking to keep up with the standings. Keep up with what's happening in every division. You've got a nice 6-race guide as to the championship at the moment. And with first division anyway, it seems to be a case of Unlucky and Bob Spun being very quick here. But it's just the consistency that's been letting them down, and that's exactly why Inorganic, Jones and Snell Henk are exactly where they are in the championship. But the safety car is going to be in. They've made their dart into the pits, so it's on Unlucky to guide us around the Parabolica and to put the foot down as they feel necessary. And at that point, we will be racing once again. And it looks like they've gone rather early there before the Parabolica itself. Essentially catches Danos napping, but has a bit of a moment. So Danos is going to be right onto Unlucky, but I think both might be draining their ERS. In fact, Unlucky is Bob Spun thinks better of it. Just happy. Not Bob Spun. Danos is just going to sit behind as Goey has a go at Bob Spun, and Bob Spun gets those elbows out. Goey forced wide, and the position does not change. It changes of position for Lisbon, and there's an incident there as Sean Fuss facing the wrong way at the end of the first chicane, and going again now. As we're just watching the intervals at the moment, see exactly where the battles are. It's unlikely that we see overtakes in Sector 2. However, a mistake, and a door is then open. An opportunity for some drivers. An opportunistic driving is exactly what we're seeing here as Full Killer slips down the order, and the two medium runners get ahead, and Full Killer is really falling down the order. I don't know what's happening to the McLaren, but they might have a fault. They might be just running higher wings as everyone else on the straights there flying by the McLaren driver. I wonder if they've got damage. We'll see if they go into the pits or not, but we're going round the Parabolica to go round to half distance of the sprint, half of which has been under the safety car, near enough. But it's Unlucky who's going there, and it's, well, Bob Spun. It's coming side by side. Oh, look how both of them are going to swallow up Unlucky, but they all think better of it. Rather sensible driving at the moment. It is only the sprint race. We have got a full race to go. But no driver deciding to go for it at this early stage. And that plays into the hands of Goey and the Haas, who was more than keeping up with our front runners. And well, in fact, so is Snellhank as well, who's now up to 5th position, getting ahead of Aishva, I presume, on the straight. Just have a little look. I think Aisha might be having some difficulties here as Clem's been getting a bit closer to the Ferrari. We will quickly flick back to the race at the front of the pack here between Unlucky, Danos, Bob Spun, Goey It looks like Snell Hanks dropping back just a little bit, but I'm sure when the battling commences ahead that they'll be closing right onto the back of this pack. But it does look as if it's going to be another battle between the Mercedes and the Ferrari. But, oh, and Clem has retired. I think there's been another incident, and yes, there has been another incident. Clem has gone on the inside there. You can just see in the middle of the screen as it just casted across. And, oh no, it looks like we've had some more collisions as drivers decide to go into the pits for fresh, soft tyres. Potential damage on cars as well. Chaos get the opportunity to serve their 5-second time penalty. But, unfortunately, it looks like Clem's been collected on the inside. And I's just been disqualified from the session.
Safety car simulator.
Smith saying there is a safety car simulator. Well, I think there's some sort of simulation going on here. As Aisha has been disqualified for driving the wrong way on circuit. Now, I very much doubt that the Ferrari has tried to enter the pits the wrong way around on the track. I wouldn't throw it past the Ferrari pit crew and mechanics. They aren't the smartest in regards to their strategies, but I don't think the strategy would be to drive the wrong way. So it'll be interesting to see what has gone on there with Aisha. I'm sure we will see that in the stewards room or in the First Division chat. Second we hear anything, then we will be letting people know. But the only good thing for drivers such as Aisha, Lisbon, Scooter, Baker, it will be good for Baker. We know his inconsistencies. But as Baker and Mocky is that this is only the sprint race. We have got the race to come after. Yes, this is going to be your starting position for the race. But there is lots of overtaking opportunities here at Monza. Maybe not as many overtaking opportunities in terms of them being able to drive away from the driver behind. With the DRS zones being so evenly spread apart. But definitely calls for great racing as ever is Monza. We're hopefully going to see 2 dry sessions as well, in contrast to Imola that was previously underwater. Interesting thing with a couple of laps remaining. Will the safety car be in this lap, or will we have enough time for Smithy and Chaos to catch back up to the pack? Still no, but the safety car is going to be in this lap. I wonder, with Chaos being in the Alpine, I wonder if Unlucky is going to really slow down the pack to provide an opportunity for Chaos to catch up. It looks like he's going very slow again. We saw exactly that in the last time round, a very slow final section prior to the Parabolica, but he did then go quite early. So I wonder, after the last snap round the Parabolica, whether he'll go about halfway through the Parabolica and just focus on the corner exit rather than having to also worry about the corner entry. See the medium runners moving up to 6th and 7th now, and away we go. Unlucky has got on the power, and Danos has gone with them, but Bob Spon has been dropped a little bit further behind this time. Good evening, Aisha. Aisha, we want to know exactly what's happened to you. So if you can let us know, we'll be able to fill in everyone before the start of the race, which obviously we'll be so happy to see you back on the grid for. We are racing again, and it's a great getaway from our front 3 drivers. They've already pulled a whole second to Goey, but I'm sure we've batted behind it. It looks like we had a problem there with Goey. Goey has dropped it on the second chicane, and that's going to see them right the way back down the order, especially this soon after a safety car. but that has given Snellhank an opportunity to move up. We've seen the two medium runners moving up the pack as well. But it's also given our top three the opportunity to run away a bit, and Danos went for the inside line. Couldn't quite get close enough for it, and unlucky swoops back ahead. But we worry, it's just a moment of time. Both drivers draining their ERS. There's not too many laps remaining. In fact, it will be the last lap as we come round and cross the line. So this is going to be our last time over this, down this straight. So I wonder if we're going to see a move from Danos up the inside. Just checking if Bob Spun was close enough. Bob Spun does get the fastest lap of the sprint. Danos not close enough. Unlucky goes a little bit deep, but does hold a good line through the first couple of corners. Bob Spun getting closer. I don't know what's going on here. We're seeing reuse parts of the track we haven't seen used for a long time around Monza. And I don't think they lost the position, but definitely lost a bit of tyre usage there. But out of those medium tyres and drops back from Snellhank. But we are going to be again watching the battle up top, as I think we've got Spivey getting close to the back of Smithy, and Chaos up to 10th position now, looking to make a move on full. Kieran will have a penalty to serve as well, so that could be a nice promotion for Chaos come the end of the race. Hughes has managed to catch right the way back up to Snellhank, so I wonder if we're going to see any moves going into the final corner, but at the moment it's still unchanged at the front of the pack. That light on the back though of Unlucky could see a move for Danos round the outside of the Parabolica. There's contact between the two drivers. Danos has gone wide. Unlucky holds the position, but now will Bob Spun be able to get the move done there. Bob Spun very close, but not able to make the move. But we're going to go right to the wire again. Snellhank holding off Reuse and Inorganic. Chaos does get promoted up to 8th position as Kieran drops to 12th after the penalty. And Goey into 13th and Sean 14th. Now I know Goey's going to be disappointed by that, but at least for Goey it was the sprint. You have got another opportunity at points and at a higher up position finishing. Smithy gets the drive of the day after they've picked up a few positions. We'll see, they had a very late safety car catch up as well, did Smithy, and they managed to get in 9th with Chaos. So Chaos just ahead. So very good driving by the two of them. But this is going to be our starting order from the sprint. We've got Unlucky in first, takes maximal points as well from the sprint race. Danos second, Bob Spun third, Snellhank all the way up to 4th, 4 positions gained. Very well done by Snellhank. Reuse is in 5th, 6th. We have Inorganic. We say about Snellhank and Inorganic, very consistent drivers. They know how to get there and how to be in the right positions at the right times and always scoring points. Jeweler 7th, and Chaos picks up a point as well in the sprint. So news on Ijver's incident. It looks like it might have been an unexpected problem with the Fanatec setup. So with the racing wheel, unfortunate to hear. But it's been reset, so hopefully all good. Well, what we will say though from the RPM team is if you notice any sort of further failure with your devices, we would recommend pulling into the pits and retiring from the race. There's one thing, the potential problem ruining your own race. We do not want to see it then ruin other people's races as well. At the end of the day, we're all racers. We all want to race, but sometimes if it's there to jeopardise other people's evenings, then you've got to be the bigger person sometimes and take that step back. But hopefully, fingers crossed, that's all fixed for you, Aisha. And no doubt we'll be seeing you make up some positions in the race. And as for the race itself, the drivers make their way onto the grid for the second time. And let's have a little look and see those tyres. Oh, we have got some interesting tyre selections. So Unlucky going for a long game, and you'd imagine Danos should get unlucky at the start, especially if the starts are similar to the last time round. "27 laps, we saw those softs do 9 laps, but some drivers didn't think they could do the full 9 laps. So I wonder if it's going to be a soft, hard race, maybe even a medium soft race. So I think the medium runners are gambling on potential safety cars to make their minds up as to what tyres they end up going onto, as it could end up being a 2-stop race with you going medium soft and then back to a fresh set of mediums, if you kept a fresh set of mediums spare, which Reuse and Inorganic did not. But there we've got confirmation they believe it's a 1-stop. You can do soft mediums or medium softs. So very interesting to see then. Unlucky and Lisbon going long and going on the hards, especially unlucky taking such a gamble when you're starting on pole. Was that choice, or were they rather unlucky? Trying to make their way round Ascari through the final sector to get that last little bit of heat into the tyres. There's a lot of drivers believe Monza should be one of the easier circuits on the calendar. It can provide anything but, with difficult corners such as the Parabolica that really wants to throw you out wide or can give you a massive snap on the inside. The first and second chicanes providing lethal curbs either side on the inside and outs of the corners. The 2 Lesmo corners, if you can get them wrong, you can find your car facing the opposite directions, and who's to forget the very tight, very easy to do track limits, Ascari chicane as well. Very easy to do, especially when there's a full load of fuel in your car. But all the conversation has been about what wings everyone is running. Maybe it's not going to come down to wings. Maybe it's about bold strategy, to which I salute Unlucky for doing so, and Lisbon. But we've got the lights. Have we got the action? And we're underway at Monza for round 7 of the First Division Championship. And already, look at that as a start. We've got Unlucky getting ahead. Sorry, Danos getting ahead of Unlucky. There's a cutting of the corner by Snellheck, who's picked up 3 seconds time, but he's also going to have to give back a lot of positions there for that corner cutting. There's a ride with Volkswagen, who's now going to get the momentum and get the inside line on Snellheck. So we get back ahead as we've got another driver off the track there, which I believe is Jeweler. He doesn't lose any position by doing so. But there we are, as predicted, the soft tyres of Danos. And I think Unlucky is going to be happy just to have only lost 1 position there, as I think they might have foresaw a battle with Volkswagen. We've got incidents further back with Sean having difficulties around the Lesbos, but does get going again in 19th. So 19 out of 20 drivers we have today. As we see Smithy and Inorganic battling away, and let's get that intervals back up on the screen. Inorganic moving into 9th position. There's another incident. It's Full Killer, who's off the track on the outside. Oh, nearly collects their teammate as well, but they do get going again. And I think, yeah, we've also got Spivey caught up in that one too. A couple of drivers going to the pits. It's just yellow flags at the moment from what we can see. No look of a safety car on Spivey, now picking up a 5-second time penalty as well for speeding into the pits. They won't be able to serve that this time around. They'll have to serve that the next time they go round to the pits. And looks like we've got the same problem that happened a couple of weeks back on Jones's commentary, with the intervals showing much greater than they are. Unless Danos is super quick on those soft tyres and has managed to pull a whole lap ahead after just 1 lap. Maybe there's some transponder issues. But the real gaps appearing here before the two Red Bulls of Kieran and Scooter. I hope you don't have these problems the whole race. If not, you've got to count on my ability to spot the drama on that mini-map in the right, unless it's shouted out in the comment section watching along on YouTube. We've got Snellhank still close to the back, but not able to make the move on Bob's bump. And we'll just have a quick little look at the position changes. So it's Julo who's up 2 positions this time around. Isra does pick up a 3-second time penalty very early on. There we've got yellow flags again in sector 1. It's Isra. I wonder if that's... I think that's... Yeah, we're getting going again. We're on the exit of turn 1. Drivers allowing them the space to get back onto the circuit. We have got a virtual safety car for this one. And I wonder if that was after potentially cutting the corner, losing the grip or the traction required to keep going, potentially spinning out into that barrier, or whether that was, again, equipment errors. So much of it is. There is the warning then going up there for Isra. But we are green again, and we are going. Unlucky, keeping up with Danos, and this could be very good driving. We're inside of DRS range now. If Unlucky is able to just utilise the DRS, let Danos use his tyres, then all of a sudden the longer strategy could work wonders. As it looks like we've got some more battling going on. Yeah, we have indeed. We've got Inorganic moving up some more positions up into 8th. And it's got eyes set on a potential move on Goey, but not close enough to make a move there. And decides to be a bit of a lawnmower on the exit of the second chicane into the first Lesmo. And we can see Inorganic a lot more comfortable round the Lesmos than Goey in the Haas. I wonder, will we see Inorganic making the move round the outside? They're getting ahead prior to the Ascari chicane and gets the move done. Does the Alfa Romeo, which puts Inorganic now up into 7th position. And what I didn't see was, Snellhank did get ahead of Bob Spud, but Snellhank does still have their time penalty for the overtake that was done at the very start of the race. Is Unlucky. The hard tyres going fastest of all, getting the slipstream and DRS on Danos. Danos decides to fight it up the inside. This isn't going to be good for both tyres. I don't know if there was a lot of room left by the Ferrari. Unfortunately, we didn't get the best camera angle of that. As we just quickly flick back to see if there's any more battles going into turn 1. Doesn't look like we have, but we have got battles on the exit. Goey hasn't got going so far. Lisbon, in fact, it wasn't Goey at all. It's Inorganic that was dropping back down. Didn't get the exit that they would have liked, and nearly collecting their teammate. Collecting drift points, and RP is Inorganic. Drops them back down to 14th position. However, I wouldn't be surprised to see their name still a lot higher up come the end of the race. And but this is an interesting watch in terms of strategies when it comes to the race wings. It looks as though both drivers using the same DRS. Smithy is able to hold Kieran, who had DRS there, at bay. It makes you think, is Smithy running more wings than Kieran? Kieran definitely a lot more comfortable throwing the car around the corner of Parabolica. And Smithy again pulling away a bit onto the straight. DRS in effect. Kieran is gaining. It's going to be a late lunge from there. And it was enough to make Smithy cut the corner, and they picked up a 5-second time penalty for cutting that corner. And what a genius move there by Kieran, forcing Smithy into defending. Smithy misses the braking zone, and by doing so, they've picked up a time penalty. And Kieran will be able to get DRS again to help them round, save these tyres maybe a little bit more. And they know they'll be getting ahead of that Aston Martin regardless now. As you see, the battles commencing again on top as Danos back ahead of Unlucky. Snell Henk now racing along as you see Kieran has now got ahead of Smithy. Going into Ascari. But it's all about our race for the lead at the moment. Three-way battle around Parabola. Oh, it looks like Snell Henk got a big moment there. As we've got yellow flags coming out of Ascari, nothing major. Back to green. It doesn't look like Snell Henk's going to be able to make a move. It definitely doesn't look like Unlucky's going to be able to make a move. Split back, we can see. Oh, we've got yellow flags. We've got a full safety car. What's happened here with Full Killer? They have lost it on the exit of the Ascari chicane. We told you it's a very, very deadly corner. These curbs, you need to ride them for the optimal lap time, but ride them too much, they will throw your car. And unfortunately, at such a high speed circuit with not the widest runoff in the world, that throwing is going to be directly into a barrier, and unfortunately that's exactly what's happened there with Full Killer. Now I wonder, is anyone going to take the gamble to pit? Now unfortunately, due to deltas with the game, pitting from the back of the pack doesn't actually gain you anything from pitting at the front of the pack, as they're all going to be stuck on a time delta. It means they cannot go faster than our leader. So, but I doubt many positions will be made from these drivers who managed to get into the pits early. But well, for the love of racing, we would like to see the game reward those who are in the right place at the right time. Maybe throw a spanner in the works, a little mix to proceedings. So Danos heads into the pits to get rid of those soft tyres. Interestingly enough, Unlucky on the hards decides to get rid of them as well, whilst Bobspum on the mediums continues round. All sense is out the window from what I see. I would have believed Unlucky would have stayed out on the track, using those hard tyres to their advantage, and maybe utilising a potential later safety car to go over to the mediums or to the softs. However, how it has turned out is Unlucky's now gone to a fresh set of mediums, whilst Danos is also on the mediums, and Snell Henk going hard, going for the long run. So it looks like some drivers believe there could be another safety car. We've got a few drivers going onto the soft tyres. Other drivers believe let's go long and go onto the hard compound tyres. And then we've got the indecisive few who are probably also going to have to rely on a safety car, but they might be able to go the distance nonetheless. And that there is going to be Danos and Unlucky matching each other. It really is a game of rock, paper, scissors. You don't know what the opposition is going to draw only until they release their hand. If you have only joined us now on comms, again we'd like to welcome you watching along and watching RPM First Division. We have got Championship Division tomorrow at the same time, and also got Premier Division on the Thursdays. If you are going to be watching Championship tomorrow, you do get to see the fantastic Williams duo of Giraffe and this guy called RPM Entity. He's really cool. Oh, that's Little Me. And yes, very good racing going on in Championship Division. A title that could go anywhere at the moment. Likewise, in fact, to what we have here in First Division, where Bobspun staying out would currently, if they were to finish where they do, will be keeping hold of first position in the Championship standings for First Division. However, they have got to pit again, so it is a potentially optimistic strategy when you've got unlucky Danos and Snell Hank all planning not to pit again. Snell Hank on the hards is going to use all their power to keep up with the mediums and to also keep the soft runners behind, like Jeweler at bay. The good thing is about Monza, you'll have racing all the way to the line. We already saw it in the sprint. You can really win by just a hair. But it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. I'm sure that's exactly what Bobspun is thinking now. Have they made the right decision with the strategy? Or will it be going to Danos and Unlucky, who are even under the safety car, battling away by the looks of things? Mind games with each other. Always take that checkered flag, see the confetti and the champagne on the podium. One good thing that we do have for the safety car is for drivers such as Aisha and Chaos, and even Inorganic, who had moments early on there, and Sean Fuss too, gives them all opportunities to bounce back and move back up the order. And for those wondering where we disappeared to last week, we did have a nice break week, a nice holiday here at RPM. But racing is in our DNA. We wouldn't be kept away too long. Here we are, round 7.
Good luck, Alpha. Turned on and off looks good now, I hope. That was unexpected. From 17th. Good luck in the main race, everyone.
I believe the safety car is going to be in this lap. It is indeed, as Bobson lets the safety car drive away. I'd like to hear in the chat as, well, it looks like Kieran and Bobson making contact there. I'd like to hear in the chat who we believe is going to win this race. And now, was that Bobson going and then slowing down again after they realised Kieran went with? Maybe that'll be one for the stewards room itself. But either way, we are now going again, and Bobson pulls away this time from Kieran. And Backer in the Williams on 10-lap old soft tyres, going up the inside of the Red Bull, backs out of it, and backs out of it so much that Danos makes an opportunistic move, and so does Unlucky. There's movement all over the field as Jeweler pulls down the order, but they're having a battle side by side, the Mercedes and the Red Bull, as we go into the first chicane. And I think Jeweler's got ahead, but the Red Bull thinks about a late move at the inside and decides against it. There is contact though from Lisbon into the back of Scooter there, and I wonder if they're going to make a move into the first Lesmo. They decide against that. I think that's a sensible decision. But let's have a little look, and well, I don't think that safety car restart worked out the way that Bob Swan wanted that one to. As Bob Swan may be hoping that Kieran and Baker were going to hold off the charging Danos. And it looks like we've got an incident with Ryu's. Ryu's off the track. They have managed to keep themselves going, avoided the barriers, but they have slipped back down to 12th. And there is some contact there. Some more contact between the Alfa Romeos as Baker does go into the pits and does pick up a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. We'll be riding with Bob Spun, who has been overtaken by Danos. Now this is an opportunity for Danos to drive away on the fresher tyres, and Bob Spun could end up holding up unlucky. And the two of them are still racing in that championship, very close to one another. Let's just have a little look and see. Danos currently in 14th in the championships, yet to make their mark on first division, as we see Bob Spun go a bit wide there out of the second chicane, and unlucky gets through on the inside and pulls away. It looks as though unlucky feels a lot more comfortable. He's a lot more confident going into the corners, especially down sector 2. And they are using their ERS to get back within that 1 second window of the Ferrari, as it looks like we are going to be having a proper shootout between the Alpine and the Ferrari for victory today. However, it's one safety car, and that opens Bob Spun right back into the race as Goey gets past Jula. As the drivers battle out for positions, battle out to gain and make ground between one another prior to DRS being enabled, which is this lap. Jula getting back ahead of Goey. This could be an interesting battle throughout the second half of this race between the two drivers, as Clem picks up a penalty. I think Clem has just drove into the back of one of our drivers. They've got a penalty for corner cutting. I think they might. I've got some damage as well. There was definitely a bit of car that flicked up. Goey has dropped a few positions, so I think the contact might have been into Goey, but Goey picked up a 5-second time penalty. They've gained 1 place. There's definitely one for the stewards room, which I'm sure we will be seeing later tonight, but well, unfortunately we didn't get the best angle of the incident, but I would imagine what we just saw was Scooter making contact into the back of Goey. As unlucky picks up a rather unlucky 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings on track limits. We said it's an easy track to do so. You can see on the screen right now the penalties are racking up, but this could be a crucial one. Half a race distance, you've already picked up 3 seconds. It's crucial to relax yourself, compose yourself, get your head back in the game, which Mocky is not doing on the exit of Ascari. Does again collect themselves and continue on. Unlucky is making progress though with the fastest lap of the race so far, and extra points going to the driver who picks up the fastest time. And just as we suspected, the gaps really difficult to draw out between one another here in Monza, and that's why we get such great racing here. As the second those gaps go down, people make a move, people feint moves, and that then means another driver is able to join the queue. The more queues we have, the more closer racing, the more battles we have. Here is the DRS train. Lisbon definitely quicker than Kieran at the moment, but Kieran just keeping within DRS of Snell Henk. However, they've been using a lot of ERS to do so. They've got themselves all out of sorts coming out of Ascari, but oh, Lisbon as well out of Ascari. Clips that inside curb. Both drivers on 0% ERS. I think it's a track that's going to drain a lot of battery. Bob Spun got a lot of battery, but is not in a good position to use it, and Bob Spun comes into the pits quite early to go on to what I'd imagine that's going to be our soft tyres. In fact, it's not going to be too early. In fact, it will be too early. We've got 12 laps remaining. It's going on to the hardest box bump. Now, that is one interesting strategy for the Mercedes as we see moves as inorganic up the inside of the Alpine. However, they are going to have to give that position back as it was an illegal overtake, and in doing so, they're going to lose out as well to Goey. And Goey is going round the outside of Chaos. But Goey then picks up a 3-second time penalty. So as long as Chaos can stick behind that Haas, then they will be straight back ahead based on the penalties. Let's have a little look at that penalty situation. So there we are, 3-second penalties adding up. Goey already having a 5-second time penalty. And we just see Inorganic sailing past on the screen there, much quicker than Chaos, who also had DRS at that point. So shows that straight line speed definitely meaning a lot, and its speed's getting from bad to worse for Chaos. As Clem gets Chaos as he has a little bit of a moment coming out of Ascari there. But definitely a lot more comfortable under braking is the Alpine, but not turning or accelerating, unfortunately. And I wonder if that was a bit of damage. It is indeed. And Chaos brings it into the pits. So Reuse gets past Jeweler. Reuse now up into 5th position on the hard tyres, able to go to the end, whilst Jeweler and Lisbon will not. We've got yellow flags. What's happened here? Can we see anything? A virtual safety car. And we have got Goey without a front wing. So I wonder if again there's been contact between the cars of Inorganic Goey and Scooter Clem. Scooter! Are you ready? So interestingly, we do get a virtual safety car rather than a full safety car, but Aijva does pick up another penalty. You want to see the penalty, Smith? Here are your penalties. Aijva picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. Baker has a 5-second time penalty, I believe, also for speeding into pits, but it could also be for corner cutting excessively. Scooter Clem, Jeweler also on 5 seconds. Goey did have a 5-second time penalty, thought that wasn't enough. I want a further 3 seconds for excessive track limits. And that's exactly what's happening there. As Lisbon goes into the pits. But when we talk about penalties, we can look at those distances as well. And Unlucky is pulling away from Danos. And that 3-second time penalty might be worth it if Unlucky is able to pull over 3 seconds to the Ferrari driver. Has got more ERS. Definitely looking in control of the race so far is the Alpine. As Lisbon comes back out of the pits into 13th and is probably going to make that 12 with Kieran going quite slowly. But Kieran running Lisbon off the track there. That's some overly defensive driving from the Red Bull. I should hold back being impartial, but yeah, that was a Max Verstappen move. Give the other driver no room at all. I'm sure we're going to see that in the steward's room as well. I think Lisbon should have got past and would have got past Kieran had Kieran not have forced the Alfa Romeo off the circuit. And Lisbon has got that move done. But they have used a lot of ERS to do so, so I wonder if Kieran is going to come back at them. But they've already dropped away as we see Jeweler into the pits. The tyre life of those softs only being 9 laps by the looks of things, before the drivers feeling the need to pop them in the bin and put on some fresh socks. We had to see Bob Spun really make indents through the order. But they are now within DRS range of the battle ahead, which is Baker closing in on Mocky. Mocky has had a bit of a quiet race so far. Big gap ahead of them, but they're about to be tested on their defensive capabilities with both Baker and our championship leader Bob Spun behind. But if things were to stay as they are, Unlucky would be moving up to second in the championship. And will be making a real indent to the Mercedes current lead. And, oh, well, Baker did get close to the Aston. A bit too close, so they knocked the Aston off the track at the Ascari chicane. And, yes, so Baker then themselves lost the position to Bob Spun. And Mocky now having to go into the pits. I think they were always going to pit on that lap. 16 lap old hard tyres. But maybe not in the fashion that they were forced off the track there. I'm sure Scooter will be our next driver to go into the pits as well. As Mocky then comes out of the pits in 17th position. And Unlucky has pulled out that distance, so bar a late safety car, and that's all it could take to change the outcome of this race. It's currently Unlucky, who is over 3 seconds ahead of Danos, and is currently, not just provisionally, but currently going to be taking home the race victory tonight. As we catch on with Lisbon, who's going to make a move on Baker into the Parabolica. Sean Fuss now picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings of track limits. And Lisbon uses their ERS to get ahead, but I think Baker's then going to get the DRS, which they are indeed. And they've got a full amount of battery to use and are still not using their battery. So I wonder if Baker's got a plan here to eventually use that ERS or not, but brakes a little bit too early. Lisbon says thank you very much, I know my braking zones. Back around the outside goes Lisbon. They hold the position, and a flashing light is screaming out for Baker to be using this ERS to get ahead of this Alfa Romeo, is it not? Maybe one for the Williams chat. There we are, you are using some ERS. But, interesting strategy to be keeping 100% at this late stage. Bob's fun. Now with just a 2-second gap up the road to Spivey, who's the other drivers been keeping themselves to themselves throughout this race. The gap's definitely starting to appear further up the field. Snell Hank got back from our leaders, but able to pull a bit of a gap to reuse. However, Snell Hank now holds 6 seconds worth of time penalties, enough to see them drop to 5th position. An inorganic gain on Snell Hank. The gap between the two of them at the moment in the championship, bar the sprint race, is just 3 points. So Snell Hank and inorganic definitely still racing between the two of them. In terms of your position changes, while some might still be changing position on track, with Baker and Lisbon still battling together, and Jula getting closer, going up the inside of the Aston Martin. Seems for a minute both drivers cautious on the brakes, on the more cautious side, as opposed to overshooting the corner. And Jula gets ahead of Smithy. Yes, those position changes, it's Baker who's currently up 8 positions and Lisbon up 7, which are the two going for the not only the most combative, but also our potential drivers of the day so far. I wonder, there's a lot of ERS there for Spivey to use to defend. They are using it as such. Lisbon, none to attack with. However, has got the tow and DRS, but Spivey also has some DRS. Are they going to be able to hold this one off? Late on the brakes goes the Alpha, and they've got the tyres to do so. That's Lisbon up their 8th position today, and they can see the rear of the Mercedes of Bobspun. And Bobspun finds themselves in an Alfa Romeo sandwich, which I don't think many of us envisaged early on in proceedings today, but it doesn't look like it's working out for Bobspun. There's only 5 laps remaining. There's not too many battles going on. I'm sure that they'll be praying for a safety car nonetheless. People who will not be praying for safety cars is going to be unlucky and Snell Henk. Snell Henk, who has been caught a little bit on the last few laps from the Williams of Reuse. Reuse doesn't just want a podium through penalties. I think they want to earn their podium. And they are definitely on the charge. Let's have a little look at those tyres again. They're on the same tyres as Snell Henk. And they are actually, well, according to the TAS telemetry system, they are looking after the tyres just that little bit better than Snell Henk. However, Snell Henk, it has got more ERS at their disposal, so maybe drivers just holding off for the moment, but Ryu's definitely getting the drive out of the first chicane there, and definitely going to be putting pressure on Snell Henk, who we did see early on has got a tendency of a mistake. I'm sure they won't mind me saying. They don't love me like I love you. We said at the very start though about our consistent drivers, Snell Henk and Inorganic, and even with Inorganic's moments, I still see the Alfa Romeo going long on the hard tyres, and they're currently in 5th position, holding off our championship leader who's 8 seconds behind. Snell Henk, however, in 3rd position. They do have 6 seconds worth of penalties. They will still be ahead of Bobspun at the moment as well. What with both of their incidents early on, no more sad songs. They switched into another gear, put the head down, and looks like they're going to be scoring some fantastic points today. As we catch on with the Baker and Spivey battle. Spivey forcing Baker around the outside. That doesn't deter Baker at all, who gets ahead into the second chicane. There's nearly contact, and there is contact from behind. Kieran has clipped Spivey. And, oh, I can't quite see if there's anyone else behind this. Spivey has got going again. Got to be careful when rejoining the circuit. Not much they can really do about rejoining there. I was worried that when Kieran reversed onto the track, that there could have been a driver behind, but he couldn't quite get the angle on that. As Gary then gets past Spivey, it hasn't worked out for the Hasses today, unfortunately. I'm sure we'll be seeing that incident. I'm sure we'll see quite a few of these incidents in the stewards room. Reminder to all drivers that the stewards room remains closed until midnight. The reason being, we do not want any rash-headed reports. We also want to keep the community open, friendly and respectful, which unfortunately doesn't look like the racing we're just seeing there between Chula and Kieran. Oh my god, the two have collected each other. We've lost Chula on the straight. We've also got yellow flags in sector 3. Kieran has retired from the session. Smithy and all of that picks up a 10-second time penalty. And I think they've lost the front wing. Oh, I wonder if we might have just saw some major head loss there. And I think the stewards are going to have a big task on their hands here. No safety car. I think we're inside of the too late on in the race window for there to be a safety car. So just keeping an eye on the First Division chat. Just waiting to see if there is anything that happens in that chat. That's exactly what my thoughts were, King Penguin. Good to see you watching along. And hopefully we'll be seeing some more battles from yourself in Premier Division on Thursday. An old nemesis of mine was King Penguin, for those watching along. A very good driver though. And only seems to be getting quicker and quicker every year. Had me in their back pocket. So much so they relegated me to the championship. But talking of relegation, it looks as though Chaos is going to relegate Goey down to 12th as Chaos moving up around the outside, although Goey not giving this one up. Does eventually give the position up into the first chicane, and that's Chaos now up to 11th position, points scored up until 12th. Bob Spud still hasn't been able to make inroads to Inorganic. Inorganic does, however, have a time penalty. The time penalty being 3 seconds, so Inorganic will still hold off championship leader as it stands as we go into the final lap of the race, to which we will switch back to riding on board with Unlucky for. Unlucky again, who does have a time penalty, but I don't believe they picked up anything further than their 3 seconds, so as long as they keep it within the white lines of the circuit, it should be a race victory for the Alpine. Here it has to be said, going from the hard to the mediums, the right call today, but it wasn't a too bad call going soft to mediums as Danos did. Unfortunately, just didn't have the pace in the second stint to keep up with the Alpine driver, as Reuse is going to be, well, kept it clean, hasn't got a time penalty. Not yet that we know of anyway, and they look like they're going to be getting a third step on the podium. As you see some more battles further on as Smithy gets past Scooter Smithy, missing half of their front wing doing so. But we will be flicking back to our race leader as Chaos picks up a 3-second time penalty right at the end. And here it is, Unlucky rounds the Parabolica, the final corner. Takes the short line and takes the checkered flag. And we'll also have a look, they currently have the fastest lap time as well, so it's going to be maximum points for Unlucky unless someone can get the fastest lap right at the end. Danos comes home in second. We've got, oh, I don't know what's happened there. Reuse was right battling with Inorganic and Snellhank at the line there. Inorganic gets ahead of Snellhank as predicted. Reuse does take the third spot on the podium. Bob Spun gets home in 6th. I think there's still going to be enough points there for Bob Spun to see them through as our championship leader for another week, another race. And Smithy not going to be close enough to make a move on Scooter. Penalties are all going to mix around this order nonetheless. As I think we're going to see Mocky move up some positions. We do indeed. Mocky moves up to 10th. Scooter Clem in 9th. And last driver to cross the line is going to be Spivey, I believe. Eisner was going for the fastest lap, but found there's a lap down, so doesn't actually get to complete that lap, I believe. A rather hasty exit from the session there from Bob Spun. I think that speaks volumes to how they see their performance today. But I think in the grand scheme of things, points on the board, and it's it's continuing to build on what has been so far a very, very strong championship run for the First Division driver. But let's see confirmation of the podium there. So Unlucky takes the top spot from Danos. We always thought it was going to be the two of them battling away. But it's all very good to see Ryu's and a Williams driver on the podium. First of many to come, hopefully, this weekend.
How did that happen? Person shrugging.
Fourth, how did that happen? Inorganic says. I believe that's time penalties. In fact, you weren't fourth. You were. Oh wait, is this going to be taken in? Yep, this is taking in that. Yep, there we are. The race results. The things that matter. The race results. Ryu's third on the podium. It is Inorganic in fourth. Snellhenk in fifth. Bobspun sixth. Lisbon up into seventh. We've got a lot of positions gained here by these four drivers. Lisbon up to seventh from 15th. Baker up to 8th from 17th. Scooter from 16th to 9th. Mocky in 10th. Chaos in 11th. And our final point scoring position goes to the Romanian Goey. However, penalties could still play a part. Smithy is finishing in 13th. In 14th, we have Spivey. 15th, Sean. 16th, Aishva. 17th, Kieran. 18th is Jula. And 19th was Full Killer, who did finish the race. They said they did watch on board with Kieran at the end. So I'm sure that'll be something to see in the steward's room. And I think that's going to conclude our commentary tonight and our coverage of First Division's Round 7 race around Monza. A nice introduction to the new one-shot qualifying prior to the sprint races. So we got to see all the action in the 9-lap sprint race as well. I'm sure some drivers have taken notes for our Championship Division same time tomorrow. And our Premier Division, again, at the same time, 7:45 race starts. And that's going to be on Thursday night. As I mentioned before, again, my name is RPM Entity. It's always good to step in on the comms. Hopefully we'll be having Kieran and Inorganic back for next week. But if not, you get to hear my lovely voice one more time. It's the only time you will hear my voice because I won't often be on a podium. Unfortunately, we won't be having the podium interviews today, I'm sorry to say. But what you can do for your evening, wherever you may be, jump onto our social medias, have a little watch of some of our TikToks, have a look on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, find all of our content. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. And if you are interested in signing up to RPM, do reach out to our guys on social media or join our Discord where we can get you all set up and running and hopefully having the races of your life. But for now, once again, it's been me, RPM Entity, signing you off for the start of a week of Round 7 action around Monza, where today, unlucky, was rather lucky to get that race victory.